Guys, when I say this, I might be saying it in a good way, but somewhat a bad way. If it's not one thing, it's another. So we just came across this information, and it's kind of like it's not confusing.
It's dystopian. It's otherworldly.
It's something that you would never think that would happen, because this hasn't happened in so long. So, ever. Really. So make sure you like the video, leave your comments below, and let us know what you think about what is transpiring now, especially in the time that we are in.
Yes, exactly. Because if you are unaware, just yesterday, and these things always happen during the transition going into a Sabbath, okay? Just yesterday, maybe the early hours of today, I'm not even sure the exact time, but there is $12 trillion on the table, where Russia, President Putin, Vladimir Putin of Russia, the Soviet Union, the prior Soviet Union from the Cold War days, from the World War II era, has said, we want to come back to the US dollar, President Donald Trump. We want to work with you like never before. We want to help you stabilize the dollar and potentially cut China out. I said, what does this mean for BRICS? I said, what does this mean for the continent? What does this mean for these nations that are trusting in Russia? Brazil, India, China, South Africa. Russia has, look, you better look it up. Pause this video and look it up.
Look it up. I was shocked too when she told me. And this is something that I like, we talk about. You know, we don't like share on the you know, the YouTube channel here, but I think, you know, we pretty much know it. Everyone is working together. All these nations, they have to work together in some type of way. But with Russia doing this and wanting to use the US dollar, you know, it really gets down to something where it tells you how, I don't know how to put it, like Donald Trump, when he says something, when he talks to people, he has some type of power over them or something that just makes them start to think like, this might be a good idea for, you know, this time or the future to come. So let us know in the comments, because this is something different.
Yes, and you should know the 4 key sectors that Russia wants to invest in America. Yeah. There are going to be trade negotiations happening between, again, America and Russia potentially. And I want you to think long-term, 3, 6, 9, 12, 24 months down the line. What does this look like for BRICS? Does it look like a BRICS currency is going to be strong in these times? If this goes through, it means absolutely not. Instead, the dollar would be strong during these times because Russia and the US are working together on oil, mineral resources like palladium that Russia has that America can potentially want and barter and trade with America and Russia for. And then AI and nuclear arms. Now, this is really weird because the Cold War, America against Russia, from the 80s, 90s, all the way the post-World War II era, was about these two countries racing to have better weapons than the other so that if it ever came to blows, they would be able to stand against each other. This was prior to China being a world dominant place. But again, China was just trying to become the world reserve currency, but it looks like Russia's kind of like, no, Beijing, we're for whatever reason not interested in you anymore. Maybe they feel like China had too much of an upper hand on them with AI and technology because China is with it with the AI. Yeah. I mean, China technologically, there's not many civilizations on planet Earth except the United States of America that even rival them or come close to them technologically. And Russia could have just felt threatened by that. And so Russia doesn't potentially very much like Europe at all, you know, for reasons that everybody knows. Russia is not a proponent of Western Europe. They want to take over Ukraine. President Donald Trump says he wants peace. And so what's happening? America and Russia are the new allies. Now, we have previously thought behind the scenes and said, you know what, I think President Donald Trump and Putin are working together. I think they're more friendly than we can even express. And growing up in America, in Ohio, I lived in a Jewish community, and I will never forget, there's this lady in the community. She was the elder lady. She had to be maybe 85, something like that. But she would walk around the community. She had a Russian accent. And she would always say hi. Her name was Nellie. She would just walk around with her hands behind her back, relaxing, watching us at the park, walking through the neighborhood, walking by my house. And so I always thought as a child, wow, Russia and the US have this confusing relationship because Russians are pretty integral in some communities in America, not every community. But if you are in the Jewish community, if you're in some of these elite areas like that, you know exactly what I mean. Listen, this is the reality of the situation. 1 Corinthians 13 verse 9 says, we prophesy in part, but the fullness belongs to Yah. Meaning, a lot of people in the world today believe they know how this is going to end, believe they know what's going to happen, but you only prophesy partially. You only receive partiality and the dreams and the visions and the intuition that the Most High has given you, but the secret things belong to Him so that He can still remain sovereign on earth. You have to leave that leeway, for this may turn out different than what anybody thought. It may be America and Russia end up as world superpowers together. It may be that this looks a lot different than most people thought. Does that mean America's not crashing? Absolutely not. The society and culture itself in America, I saw this weird commercial earlier about the ring lights that are in America. It's a company called Ring. I mean, we've been out of the state since 2020, so I'm not even familiar with this company. But they were saying that you can now find your lost dog because they will hack every ring light in the area to be able to scour and see where your dog is. And it showed this blue light, and America's becoming a super surveillance system. But I do have a question. I wonder what Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso think of this, because the Sahel Alliance was really depending on Russia for arms and things like that, but indirectly, America in the future could be supplying those arms, could be supplying that AI. America is truly the greatest mystery Babylon that exists because she has a way of getting everybody to do what she wants them to do, to come into her connectedness, her technological advancements. The AI, if you know anything about AI as a tech marketing strategist, let me tell you, AI itself is enough to make the dollar go back up. AI in itself, so these investments that are only 4 core investments, again, oil, nuclear, palladium, however you say it, it's a resource that Russia has that America potentially wants. And then the AI infrastructure, it's more resourceful, logistics based, rather than outright working together, but it's more foundational. So you know, if you're like an entrepreneur or a business person, when you have a client that you like and appreciate, you guys start to become closer. So that's what the relationship with America and Russia could look like, because Russia, again, says they're willing to give $12 trillion to the United States of America.
Yeah, it's deep, y'all. It's deep, but you know, all praises to the Most High for, you know, just the eyes to see and the ears to hear. That's very important. You know, just like my wife was saying, the Most High, he allows people to prophesy in parts. So He will give the things that's happening on this earth to certain people to see before others. You get what I'm saying?
But only in part.
But only in part. But it gets down to, you know, it kind of reminds me of this quote that, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys know. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer, right? So that could be something where Russia is starting to realize, like, okay, look, maybe we just need to really keep America close, or maybe America is thinking that also. So it really gets down to the resources, as we know. But the most important resource that you need to know is the word of the Most High, and His word is coming alive. So if you're not, you know, really truly into His word and seeing how this is like unfolding right in front of us, although it might look one, or we might think it look one way, but the Most High is going to start revealing stuff to kind of blow our mind, because this was a point, this was a situation, this is information right now where it's like, huh? No, what? Russia is one of the main people in BRICS.
Yeah,
and they want to get away from the dollar. They want to use their own currencies. But now, they said, okay, we're gonna give 12 trillion to you, right? And I know it gets down to what they sanctioned back when, like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
when they had to take the Americans' assets from Russia and stuff like that. So it might get down to that, but still, this has been said. This has been reported. This is new information. So we got to see how this plays out. But this is being said. This is why I always say you got to pay attention to what's being said and what is not being said. This is something that's very important. This can ruin a lot of relationships. Relationships can look at Russia like, hold on, like you supposed to be one of our big dogs, and now you doing business behind our back and stuff like that, and you know what we gonna do now? So it could be some countries that's gonna follow Russia in the way. So that's something to really think about. But the main point, His word is coming alive. The Most High Yahuah, His word is coming alive. Point blank, period. So the most important thing is what are you gonna do about it? You physically can't do nothing about it. Besides, if you need to, get up and move from your home country to, have a better life and your, the cost of living and stuff like that, things like that. But you can't go to Putin, you can't go to Trump to say anything. You can't go to these governments to say anything, because most of these governments outside of America, we were just listening to a video, and he was talking about America has freedom of speech, right? Although us Americans, we like, oh no, we don't. But if you come to these other countries, you can't say nothing about the government. So even recently with, it was somebody that was from Israel saying something about the South African president, and the South African president is giving him like 3 days, 72 hours to get out the country, or you're going to be jailed. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like little things like that. You got to realize everything's starting to make sense. Everything is starting to be more simple, but it's you to make it confusing, or you to make it simple. It's really not that hard. Because this right here, this is something way bigger than what anyone expected.
Yeah, you may want to get in position and leave America. We always have, we've been saying that for 6 years now. But you just don't want to be in an American society that's going to function like a Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, which it already is, which is probably also why they're getting along behind the scenes. They're like, oh, President Trump is bearing some of the fruits of a true dictator from the old Soviet days. And they may enjoy that and be like, hey, now we can finally get along now. And so we will be staying on this side of the world, I'll tell you that. That don't change our insights, our direction, our discernment. It's just a time to be like, oh, okay, well, praise y'all. I'm gonna maneuver over this way while y'all do that. Pay Caesar what's due to Caesar, but give y'all what's due to y'all, and be obedient to what he has called you to do. Because the land is plentiful.
Yep.
But the laborers are few.
Yep. And it's coming up to harvest season. But I know you said something earlier. It was kind of funny about how like they are friends behind the scenes. So Trump is probably asking Putin like, okay, how do I stay in power for 30 years? So,
they got AI cloning technology now. There's different stuff that's at play.
It's a lot. It's a lot that's at play. I remember when Putin and the Chinese president was meeting, and then something like a audio was leaked, and they were talking about how to live longer. Oh, we got to do this to live longer. We need to live longer. So you just never know what this stuff that is being released, man. It's so much stuff that is connected, that's been here even before our time, even before we was born. You get what I'm saying? 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and now it's starting to come out. Now it's starting to be leaked, but that's a hard thing to break down unless it's the Most High.
Yeah, it goes back to 1 Corinthians 13 verse 9. We prophesy in part, but the fullness belongs to Yah. All praises to the Most High Yah. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. Let us know what you think down below. Also, let us know if you have any scriptural insight that you would like to drop as to what you believe the Most High is showing you in these end times. Or does this really just blow your end times theories where you're like, wow, okay, you gotta sit on this one. Maybe you're feeling like I just gotta sit on this one and discern to see what's happening.
These guys say, Shalom, family. Make sure you like the video. We'll talk to you next one.
Shalom.